Okay, so we're going to learn how to measure nipples today. It is important for flange size fitting as well as nipple shield fitting to get the best fit for mom for comfort and also for efficiency and functionality. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to measure nipples. This is a nipple measuring tool. So clearly the nipple goes in the hole and you're going to try to match up the nipple to the hole that it fits the best in. You want it to fit nice and snugly, but not where it's touching the sides. So not super loose, but not super tight. So I'll show you an example of that. And I will also show you how to measure a nipple using just a regular measuring tape. So the same ones that you might use to measure baby's head circumference or for the head stockings and things like that. So I'm going to show you two different breast models so you have a little bit of a different perspective. So first is my more realistic breast model. So we can see that we have a more everted nipple. It's more straight, not super tapered. I don't know if you can see that. And what we're measuring is just the nipple itself, not the areola around it. So with this nipple measuring tool, we're going to start to see, okay, that is a little too snug. So we're going to move down the line. It's hard to see from my angle. So that fits pretty good, maybe more in the 15 range. So this nipple measures a 15. 15 might be good, but it might be a little snug. So you might want to size up to a 17, but you don't want any more room than what's around this nipple right now, this little halo. That's all you want. If we go with our standard size for the Amida pumps that we have, it is a 25, and you can see how much more room that is. That's going to end up hurting, pulling the extra tissue around, like the areola, the skin of the areola in. It's going to end up pinching, and it's not going to isolate the nipple, which is what we need to do to make sure that milk is being expressed efficiently. So on this model, we kind of see that 15 is probably the best fit, but we might need to size up to a 17 because our flange inserts only come in those odd numbers. So it might depend on mom's comfort, but I would start somewhere between a 15 to 17. So on the same model, if we're using the measuring tape, we're going to measure always in millimeters. So you can't really see the one, so I'm going to start with the 2. You're going to line up the measuring tape at the edge of the nipple where it meets the areola. And I'm going to try to show you this the best I can. I think it'll be a little too bright. But we can see that if we are measured up here with the 2 at the edge, and we get to about 3.5 here, so that again is 15 millimeters. So right around the same measurement. Now, not all nipples are created equal, so some nipples may be more tapered. If they have that tapering effect, or if they are flatter or inverted where it's hard to kind of evert it to see, then you are probably going to size up just to give a little extra room for movement. You always want to firm up the nipple first, though, even if it's everted, and you never want to measure either after pumping or a baby's latching, because it will automatically swell the tissue and you may not get an accurate reading. So our next example is not as realistic. So this nipple is a little bit more tapered, but still pretty everted. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our little tool, and we can tell, okay, that's a little too small. We're going to move up. That one fits okay, might be a little bit snug. The 17 probably fits pretty good. An 18 would probably be ideal, but the 19 might be what you go with because it has a little bit of that taper to it. So anywhere between like a 17 to a 19 might be your best bet here. So we'll do the same thing with the measuring tape. Again, it's a little bit harder to do this and see because it is a little bit tapered. So we measure that up from the 2 mark to, see if we can see here. So from the 2 mark here to, it's really hard to focus on this. Looks like about an 18, which is right between, sorry, you can't really see that well, but it's right between where we were on the other one, between a 17 and a 19. So it's right around that kind of 18 mark. It's really hard for me to focus. I'm so sorry if you can see that. So that is how you measure nipples. Um, it can get a little tricky, and over time you might get good enough where you can kind of eyeball it, but you never want to just eyeball it. Sometimes it can be deceiving, and you want to make sure that for comfort and for the sake of supplies that we're giving them the correct size. But sometimes you may have to trial and error it depending on what she's reporting she's feeling or what you're seeing in the flange. So if you have any questions, just let us know.